Good Monday morning, Market Chameleons, and everyone joining us for the first time. Thanks for coming by and checking out the Market Chameleon pre-market show. Before we get started, please take a look at the disclaimer being displayed on the screen. Be aware that neither Market Chameleon, myself, or Dimitri are registered investment advisors or broker dealers. Please, if you're searching out investment advice, search out a registered broker dealer. This show is for informational purposes only concerning the Market Chameleon's tools and features. With that, Dima, are you ready to roll?
Yep. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to share my screen on Market Chameleon. And quick note, if you're joining us for the first time, Will and I, we do these shows in the morning to try to help answer questions you may have about the Market Chameleon tools, the data, or the analytics. If you have a question, type it into the live chat on YouTube. Will is keeping an eye on it, and he'll read those back to me. And to give you a couple minutes to put in the questions, we're going to start out taking a look at the pre-market report to see if we could get insights on what's happening in the pre-market hours. And then we are going to move on to the questions. So with this pre-market report up top, we see this calendar view, and this gives you a summary of what happened in the pre-market hours on that particular date. So you can go to a historical date and see what happened in the pre-market on that date. Up top, you have the summary stats, and it's really to give you a way to compare today's actions versus the most recent pre-market activity. Also, if you could eyeball it, see if there are any trends or something unusual. So today we are on April 1st over here. And so far we have 726 stocks trading higher in the pre-market, 248 stocks trading lower. We have 193 million shares trading on up volume and 41 million shares trading on down volume. If we convert that volume to dollar value, we have $2.5 billion worth of stock trading higher in the pre-market, 964 million trading lower. So from that perspective, looks like we have a positive lean in the pre-market trading activity. Let's look at it from a couple more perspectives, then we'll move on to our questions. And I'm going to scroll down. And as we do that, now we come to a different view of the pre-market activity. It's more granular. We see the stock symbols with the price changes, volume, and alerts trading in the pre-market hours. We have our most active list, a list of our biggest percentage gainers in the pre-market, and a list of our biggest percentage decliners. Here we have 87 stocks that made our biggest percentage gainers list, 37 on our biggest decliners list. So that also indicates a more bullish lean in pre-market activity. Now, to make this list, we set certain thresholds for volume and liquidity, price change, because stocks in the pre-market can trade on either very low volume or low liquidity. So we do set thresholds to make it onto this list. And if the stock meets those thresholds, it'll make it onto this list, and that includes small cap stocks. It includes ETFs. It could be an inverse ETF, leverage products, closed-end funds. So to narrow down this list further, we could use the filters above. This very first filter, it allows you to filter the list by your watch list. So if you do just track a certain group of stocks and you want to filter that group using this report, you can do that in my watch list filter. We are going to use this filter here for our example in ETF. When you click on it, you get a drop down menu to select from. These are different ETFs to choose from. And when we select an ETF, the holdings below, let's do that with SPY. the list below will get filtered by holdings in that ETF. So what we did was now filter this list by the SPY holdings, which are the S&P 500 constituents. So we narrowed it down, and now looking at this group, we see 10 stocks made it onto our percentage gainers list, 2 on our decliners. So that also indicates that the trading in a pre-market is leaning more towards the bullish side. And we looked at it from, I think, 3 different perspectives at this point. They all kind of point to the same thing. And we did give it a couple minutes. Well, so if you have a question, I'll take it now.
Yeah, D, we did get a question from Rob. He was interested in an article. He actually did send it over. It was a Goldman article about the title is April is company pre-announcement season, and Goldman has a way to trade it. So the article goes into, I guess they keep records of pre-announcements of earnings, stocks and earnings season, and they list like 4 or 5 of them. And Rob is asking, and Rob, you can come on or if the question is wrong, let me know. But he's asking, this was the Goldman recommendation, was trying to trade these pre-announcements. Question is, how do we screen for those on the MC site? And I'm not aware that we have. I mean, the fact that it's a pre-announcement, there's no way to know when that's going to be, correct?
Yeah, so pre-announcement would be something that a company reports earnings ahead of what they schedule, right? So otherwise it wouldn't be pre-announcement, right? So if they announce it like, this certain date, a month from now, and that's what we're expecting, and all of a sudden they just come out with the news, right? Pre-announced, they announced it unexpectedly earlier than we are anticipating, then that would be a pre-announcement. But we can't anticipate that, right? Because unless they tell us, well, we're going to announce this date and announce it on that date, but a pre-announcement, you can't forecast, because that they're basically telling you the earnings ahead of where they first said that they were going to announce, right? So there's no way for us to know, well, tomorrow they're going to pre-announce, or next week they're going to pre-announce. So then since we don't know that, if a company does, let's say, pre-announce, right? They announce ahead of schedule, or they issue a preliminary. Then once we detect that, we will put that on our earnings calendar. So if you go to the earnings calendar, and you'll see, so this one just rescheduled to April 1st. You'll see an indicator, and sometimes they'll give you like a preliminary. So what they'll do is, so I don't see one right now. Let me go back and just see. So here's one that issued guidance, right, along with their earnings. Let me see. I'm trying to find one to show you what it would look like. So this one, we will tag it if it's a kind of a pre-announced or preliminary. So I don't see one yet. Let me just go back one more date. Let's go back to this. Okay, so these are a little bit different because these aren't pre-announcements. What these are doing is they're rescheduling it from saying that they scheduled to release it one day, and then they're gonna, most of the time either move it forward or usually back some days. But what it will say here is sometimes preliminary, and a preliminary is kind of a pre-announcement where they tell you not the entire earnings report, but they'll tell you that some of it, like we're expecting, we're gonna, the earnings per share is going to be higher, or the revenue is going to be higher, and we're going to tell you the rest of it, with the management conference call and so forth on our scheduled date. So what it'll do is give you a preliminary. Let me see if I could find one. Let's see if Meta ever had one here. I'm just trying to see if I could show you what it would look like. Which is let's see if NVIDIA ever did that. So here's a preliminary. So in NVIDIA, so look what happened here. In NVIDIA on August 8th, 2022, you could see that they issued a preliminary press release announcing, and we could click on that press release.
So Dave,
and then, yeah,
this is exactly what Goldman did, is they looked at the history in these stocks and to see how many times they've done it and in what months. That's basically what they've reported in this article. How far back does that history go that you're looking at?
Well, I'm looking right now, it's going to 2009.
Right.
And of course, that you could see here that only happened once, that we caught it in NVIDIA. So it's not like you're going to get them every quarter, right? Then you could anticipate it. So the pre-announcement is something that you really, it's doesn't have, it's an unusual thing, right? That's what the pre-announcement is. Because if
that's what the article's saying. Rob was asking, can you look at one of the companies they mentioned? One is CNX.
Yeah. So before I do that, just to show you what this means. So here in preliminary, you can see August 8th, they issued a preliminary financial results for second quarter, and they're just telling you some guidance here about what the revenue looks like and so forth. But you could see that August 24th, right, like 2 weeks later, they issued the actual second quarter. So they basically, gave you some, material information that they thought might be, affecting the earnings that they wanted to release. But this is an unscheduled, right? So you can see here, second quarter preliminary, then they announced second quarter. Sometimes they might just come out and give you the entire quarter, but usually it's like a preliminary one. Here, it looks like they came out with a just guidance for first quarter, and then they issued the first quarter. So that can happen, right? These are not something that is on a schedule. What was the symbol, Will?
Actually, Rob corrected me. The one he really wants to see is Delta Airlines. I think that's DAL.
So Delta Airlines over here, I see guidance they issued December 2022. So I'm not seeing, at least not that we captured. Does he know which date was the Delta Airlines pre-announcement?
Let me see. I'll go to the article. Rob, if you know the dates off the top of my head, let me know.
Yeah, I don't see them in here, so we didn't capture them unless they, maybe didn't issue a press release. Maybe they put it on their website that we didn't capture, but I only see this one over here, December 14th. They came out with guidance in between third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because they do say in the art, I mean, this is a Goldman article, right? So you got to take it. We don't know what they're looking at, but it says the airline appears to be particularly aggressive with pre-announcement. Delta has done so 6 times over the past 2 years, not just in April, it says.
So they're saying Delta Airline has reported 6 times pre-announced.
That's what this article's saying.
Yeah.
On if in CNBC.
All right. One thing we could do, let's just go to their investor relations website, and let's just see in the news if they we could just check what they have on their investor relations website. Again, we didn't capture any pre-announcements here except for this one. They could have also maybe announces webcast for March results to present upcoming conferences, announces December financial results. So I'm not sure, I'm not seeing. So I'm not seeing where those pre-announcements are.
Well, you'd think it would show up in the press releases because they have to release it to everyone. So
yeah,
we would catch it if it was there. I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah, so I don't see them. So I go, if they had like some dates, I go back and take a look at it. If there's somewhere else that they're reporting this, maybe they're announcing it during their conference. Seems like they have some conferences out here. Maybe during these conferences they say something, but I'm not sure.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, there are any other questions?
Nope, no other questions have popped up yet.
Okay. Since there are no questions, let's go to, I guess let's default to SPY maybe. And I'll just kind of stick on these multi-leg trades for now, since it's a relatively new feature and we've been kind of trying to guide people with this feature. So again, this feature here looks at the options trades. In this case, it's a SPY, and separates the multi-leg trades from the single leg trades. And then the software looks at the multi-leg trades, stitches together the relevant ones, and it takes the data, interprets what the most likely strategy is. Okay. So here in SPY, this is for Friday or Thursday, right? We weren't open Friday. So this is as of Thursday's close. We're not open yet today. What it's saying is that we detected 64 different types of strategies that were used in SPY. And if you open this filter, you will see a list of all the different strategies that we detected as I'm scrolling down. And then up top, it tells you the total volume that traded in SPY that were part of a multi-leg trade and the different unique combinations. Okay. So you could see that in SPY, there was a pretty significant amount of multi-leg trades, 2.1 million option contracts in SPY trading multi-leg trades versus 7 million total contracts. And here, what we saw was that the biggest volume in any particular strategy was in the put butterfly. All right, so that, which is a little bit, you know, I guess unusual because that's not one of the most common strategies. Usually you get a call spread, put spread. So put butterfly on Friday made the top of the list in SPY, 1.2 million option contracts were involved in these put butterflies. And it wasn't one put butterfly in particular, because there were over 100 different unique put butterfly combinations, right? Because you could have it put butterfly in different expirations, or you could have different strikes. So there were 100 different unique ones. But nevertheless, you could see that there was a significant amount of volume in these put butterflies, because the next strategy below that were put spreads, and those were 273,000 contracts. So that's, you got almost more than 5 times as many, right? It looks like 5 times as many option contracts in put butterfly than just put contracts. And you could see, if you compare it to call spreads, 138,000, that's significantly more. So let's just take a look at that. I'm not going to even select the put butterfly. Let's just see. These are this is already organized by the top volume option spreads, right? So all 5 of the top 5 option spreads were put butterflies. This is without even filtering them out. So, one of the reasons we do this is when you track any type of stock that you're interested, trading options, seeing from day to day what trades, how things trade, things that they're going to be things that you're going to figure out that they're like reoccur. There are things that you're going to figure out that I've seen this before. I know what usually tends to happen, or you could perhaps even anticipate certain things that might happen next with rolls. But here we're looking at just the top butterflies here. And you could see that the first one, put butterfly, was on May 17th. It's the May 17th expiration, which is 50 days to expiration. Hold on, I just clicked on it, so it opened up the details. So May 17th expiration is the 405, 430, 455 put spread. Okay, so these strikes are $25 apart. Okay, and you could see here that with the stock 523, this is an out of the money put spread. So let's I'm going to click on it just to see if we could get a little bit more details on it. It looks to me that this put spread with this indicator was a new position. But let's open it up. And over here, we see that the market in the put spread was 8 cents, 12 cents. That's where we last captured it. Traded at 11 cents last. So up here, 11 cents. VWAP price, 8 cents. So you can see traded 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 4,000. Right? 8 cents most of the time. And then 11 cents here at the end. And it looks like these 3 were very close together. 11.15.04, 11.15.24. So this one here looks like, on the SIBO, traded 3 times relatively in a short period of time, all for 8 cents. Okay. If we open that up, we can kind of see the details here. All right. So let's let's click on this just to see the legs. And this is what each leg looked like. So this is the bid and ask of each leg. May 405 put, May 17th 430 put, May 17th 455 put. We have the markets here, 5 vols. This is the open interest in the morning. And this is the open interest that's this morning. So we could track how much the open interest changed. So what we see here is, each leg here is traded 76,000 for the 405 put, 152,000 on the 430 put, and 76,000 on the 455 put. And we could see here that the open interest changed very close to the volumes here. So there could have been other stuff trading around there. But what this indicates is that this put butterfly in particular that traded on Friday, that now is a new open position, right? So now we're building a picture. Like now we see the open interest. How did this open interest climb here? From the put butterfly, and now we're seeing the market's position, right? Now that's what we're starting to study, is like what type of positions are being open and held there. So from these markets here alone, looks like somebody sold this put spread. Sold this put butterfly for 8 cents out of the money. All right, that's what it looks like so far, and that's so far it looks like the position, because of the open interest increase, is that position still exists. That risk, that exposure is still out there. All right. So I'm gonna close that. You can see that something similar here is happening as well. Another put butterfly, same expiration, May 17th, right? This traded $45 apart. So 355, 400, 445 put spread. So let's open that up. So these are the 3 trades. Traded 11 cents, 11 cents, 12 cents. So this one, similar. We see that the open interest increased. So what's happening here is now it appears that the trade is trading one put spread versus the other, because this put spread seems like they're actually on the buy side of it versus the sell side on the other one. So what is the inference here, right? What are we now trying to infer from these 2 trades as we go down the list? Well, if we just looked at, the prices that it's being traded at, I'm going to make an inference, right? It's not, I'd have to go actually take a look at it a little bit more to make it more conclusive. But with 2 minutes to go, I'm just going to make this initial inference without going further into the details. But my inference may be there's 2 things going on. Either he might be on the same side on both, selling both, or that he's buying one and selling the other. All right, buying one for 11 cents, selling this one for 8 cents. We could take a look at now this other one, and so we only have a minute left. But you could see as I'm going down the line, trying to grab the top trades, because we got to understand, like, this over here, was a significant amount of volume, even if we compare it to the total volume, right? Even when you compare it to all the 7 million, 1.2 million were just put spreads. So you could see that a significant amount of volume just was due to these strategies that seemed to, carry over to open interest, that converted to open interest. So that's where, we could start looking at, well, what's going on there? What type of positions an exposure is open there. So then we know it in the back of our minds. But we're right up at 9:30, so I'm going to stop there.
Great job, Dima. Thanks as always. Great start to the week.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Stay safe out there. Have a great trading day and hope to see you guys tomorrow.
Trade in peace, community.